Welcome to the world of science fiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. Enjoy the listening. The grand chamber of the Zalkith High Council loomed like an alien cathedral, its vaulted ceilings glistening with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed in rhythmic mockery of the human diplomat, standing alone at its center. Ambassador Marcus Halloway, dressed in Earth's ceremonial uniform, was dwarfed by the semicircle of alien leaders seated above him. Their scaled chitinous and sinewy forms reflected the brutal diversity of a coalition forged through conquest. The air was thick with tension, not from hope, but the silent acknowledgement that this meeting would end as all others had, in failure. Marcus stood tall, his voice steady as he delivered Earth's plea. Humanity does not seek war. We do not seek domination or destruction. All we ask is peace, a future where both our species can coexist without needless bloodshed. His words echoed, briefly swallowed by the chamber's vast emptiness. Then, laughter erupted, deep, guttural, and layered with alien timbers. It filled the space like acid rain, corroding every trace of dignity Marcus had tried to maintain. From the center of the council sat Commander Zovtar, the Zalkith's towering military leader, whose scaled, crimson body shimmered as he leaned forward. His fanged grin stretched impossibly wide. "Peace?" he hissed, the translator struggling to keep up with the guttural clicks of his native tongue. "You mistake your desperation for negotiation. Humanity is a pest one that has scurried too far and too long. The Zalkith do not parley with vermin. We exterminate them." Marcus clenched his fists behind his back, forcing his face to remain impassive. He had trained for this years of preparation to withstand provocation, to embody humanity's restraint. But Zovtar's next words pierced that veneer. "You will surrender what remains of your pathetic species, or we will finish what we started. Your colonies, your fleets, your cities' ashes, Ambassador. That is the only future we offer." The silence that followed was suffocating. Marcus met Zovtar's gaze, his steel-gray eyes locking onto the alien's predatory slits. "You underestimate humanity," he said, his voice colder now, every syllable deliberate. "You think us weak because we have sought peace. But I warn you, corner us, and you will see what we are truly capable of." Zovtar's laugh boomed again. Empty threats from a doomed species. Something inside Marcus snapped. Years of watching humanity's colonies fall, its people slaughtered, its pleas for mercy mocked, boiled to the surface. His hand slipped into his pocket, retrieving a small, concealed device. He had promised himself he wouldn't use it not unless there was no other way. "Then let this be our answer," Marcus said, his voice laced with uncharacteristic venom. Before the council could react, he activated the device. A burst of brilliant flame engulfed Zovtar, his screams cutting through the stunned silence as the Zalkith general writhed and collapsed. Marcus turned, his face expressionless, and walked out of the chamber, leaving chaos in his wake. The warning was clear. Humanity would not bow. The galaxy would soon know what that meant. The news of Marcus Halloway's dramatic act spread like wildfire across Earth's fractured but resilient networks. Footage of the diplomat walking out of the Zalkith Council chamber, leaving the smoldering corpse of Commander Zovtar behind, was broadcast on every channel. For the first time in years, the people of Earth felt something other than despair. They felt rage and resolve. In the war room of the Unified Earth Defense Council, General Adrian Cross stood before a massive hollow display of the galaxy. Lines of glowing red marked the extent of Zalkith-controlled territories, nearly encircling the scattered blue dots that represented humanity's last strongholds. Cross, a man of unyielding focus and sharp intellect, studied the map in silence as his officers debated strategies around him. "We're outnumbered and outgunned," Admiral Victor Kane growled, his grizzled face a canvas of scars from decades of war. "Even with the weapons we've been holding back, we can't take the fight to them without risking total annihilation." "We risk annihilation by doing nothing," interjected Dr. Michael Tanaka, a civilian scientist whose breakthroughs in plasma technology had kept Earth's defenses afloat. The Zalkith see restraint as weakness. If we don't strike now, they'll crush us before we can even regroup. Cross raised a hand, silencing the room. Enough. His voice carried the weight of command, each word precise and deliberate. Holloway's actions have forced our hand. The Zalkith believe humanity is a pest to be eradicated. They need to learn that pests, when cornered, can bite back harder than they ever imagined. The room fell silent, the tension palpable. Cross turned to a holographic model of a Zalkith outpost, a vital staging ground for their fleets. This is our first target. Operation Retribution. We hit them hard, we hit them fast. And we make sure the galaxy knows humanity won't go quietly into the dark. Hours later, the fleet was mobilizing humanity's hidden strength. Technologies developed in secret and kept in reserve was unveiled. Sleek ships outfitted with plasma railguns and cloaking devices emerged from underground hangars. Cybernetic soldiers, blending human adaptability with machine precision, prepared for deployment. On the command deck of Resolute, Earth's flagship, Cross stood alongside Commander Eric Vance, the brash and impulsive leader of the fighter squadrons. "Think they're ready, General?" Vance asked, his trademark smirk barely concealing his nerves. "They don't have to be ready," Cross replied, his gaze fixed on the stars. "They just have to fight." The fleet launched in perfect formation, their engines roaring like humanity's collective defiance. The assault on the Zalkith outpost began with a surgical precision that left the enemy reeling. Railgun salvos tore through enemy defenses, and ground forces overwhelmed alien strongholds with an efficiency that belied humanity's smaller numbers. As the dust settled, Cross transmitted a message to the Zalkith High Council. "This is only the beginning. Humanity does not forgive. Humanity does not forget. You started this war. Now we'll show you how it ends." The war had begun in earnest. The Zalkith's response was swift and merciless. Within weeks of the attack on their outpost, entire human colonies were reduced to rubble under relentless orbital bombardments. The aliens retaliated with overwhelming force, their fleets leveraging technology centuries ahead of Earth's. Yet, humanity refused to collapse. Each assault was met with stubborn resistance, each setback countered by ingenious adaptation. In the dimly lit command center aboard the Resolute, General Adrian Cross analyzed reports from the front lines. The holomap before him showed a grim picture. Red indicators spread like an infection, creeping toward Earth's last bastions. Yet scattered among the carnage were signs of defiance, blue markers where humanity had fought back and held. Cross leaned on the table, his sharp features hardened by exhaustion. "They're pressing harder than we anticipated. We need more than grit and improvisation to survive this." "Then it's a good thing I don't deal in improvisation," said Dr. Michael Tanaka as he entered the room, holding a sleek data tablet. "We've identified a flaw in their systems. Their fleets rely on centralized AI networks for coordination. Cut off the head, and the body flails." Cross's brow furrowed. "A vulnerability like that. Why wouldn't they safeguard it better?" Tanaka smirked. "Arrogance. They've never fought an enemy who could exploit it. But we're not just any enemy." The general nodded, his mind already turning over the possibilities. "We'll need to test it. Small scale, controlled." "That's where I come in," interrupted Commander Eric Vance, stepping forward with his trademark cocky grin. "My squadron's itching for action. Let us run the op. You give me a target, and I'll give you results." Cross considered the pilot. Knowing Vance's recklessness was both his greatest strength and his biggest flaw. "Fine," Cross said after a long pause. "But follow protocol. One mistake, and you risk the entire fleet." The mission was set. Vance's fighters launched into enemy territory under the cover of a new cloaking system. Their target, a smaller Zalkith command vessel, chosen to test Tanaka's theory. As Vance led his squadron through enemy patrols, his confident banter over the comms belied the razor-edge tension in his voice. Stay sharp, boys, Vance said, his voice steady. This isn't just about us. This is about showing them what humanity can do. The ambush unfolded perfectly. A well-placed EMP missile disrupted the command ship's AI, and without its coordination, the surrounding fleet fell into disarray. The human pilots struck hard and fast, dismantling the Zalkit defenses before retreating under heavy fire. When the squadron returned, the war room erupted in restrained applause. Tanaka's theory had been proven correct, and for the first time in months, a glimmer of hope broke through the darkness. Cross stood at the center of the room, his voice calm but resolute. This changes everything. They thought us a nuisance. Now, we've shown them we're a threat. The victory was small but monumental, a turning point in a war that was far from over. The galaxy was beginning to see that humanity was no longer a species on the brink. It was a force to be reckoned with. The Zalkith High Council, once smug in their superiority, now faced an enemy they could no longer underestimate. Humanity had pushed the war to their doorstep, exploiting their AI-dependent fleet and dismantling their once invincible armadas. But the war's climax was yet to come, a final assault on the Zalkith homeworld Kalither. General Adrian Cross knew the stakes. Humanity's survival would be decided in this battle. On the Resolute, Cross addressed the fleet in a broadcast that played on every ship and dropship. His voice was calm, yet carried the weight of the moment. We stand at the edge of history. The Zalkith sought to extinguish us, to erase our place in the galaxy. Today, we show them that humanity does not break. We endure, we fight, and we win. Commander Eric Vance and his squadron soared ahead of the fleet, leading the first wave. In the cockpit of his fighter, Vance gripped the controls, his usual bravado tempered by the gravity of the mission. All right, team, let's make this count. No mistakes, no second chances. Earth is watching. As the human fleet breached the Kalitha defense perimeter, the Zalkith unleashed their remaining forces in a desperate bid to repel the invaders. Space ignited with the chaos of battle. Plasma beams and missile trails streaked across the void, while railgun salvos tore through alien ships. The Zalkith's central AI strained to coordinate the defense, its vulnerabilities now fully exploited by humanity's relentless onslaught. On the ground, General Cross led the planetary assault. Armored dropships deployed cybernetic soldiers and human infantry into the heart of the Zalkith capital, where towering spires of alien architecture loomed over the battlefield. Cross moved with precision, issuing commands and rallying his troops. Beside him, Dr. Michael Tanaka worked furiously to deploy a disruption device designed to neutralize the remaining AI systems on the planet. Amid the chaos, Marcus Halloway emerged from the shadows of history, arriving on Kalither as a symbol of humanity's defiance. No longer a diplomat, he had become a warrior in his own right. Standing atop a captured Zalkith communication spire, he broadcast a message to every corner of the galaxy. Humanity did not choose this war, Marcus said, his voice steady and unyielding. But we will finish it. To all who sought to break us, remember this moment. We are not prey. We are not weak. And we will not be forgotten. As the disruption device activated, the Zalkith defenses crumbled. Their fleets fell into chaos, their soldiers disoriented, their leaders powerless. Within hours, the Zalkith High Council surrendered unconditionally. In the aftermath, the galaxy stood in stunned silence. Humanity, once dismissed as insignificant, had risen to reshape the order of the stars. Standing amidst the ruins of Kalither, Cross turned to Marcus, his expression unreadable. We've won the war, but can we win the peace? Marcus looked out over the battlefield, the weight of his actions etched into his face. We'll find out. One battle at a time, humanity had triumphed, but the future remained uncertain, the embers of war still smoldering in the void.